Money, 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 money.
You sound like a Pink Floyd song.
Yeah, money. No, I think how we manage our money traveling full time. I think that's a really interesting thing that people ask us about all the time. Like, how do you manage it all?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and particularly since we've been traveling the world for the last 5 years, we have no home base, we have no storage unit, we have essentially a virtual address. So managing money can be a challenge. The good news is that we worked through that, and we've got a lot of great tips for you, some of which may actually be in a book that a new revision has just been released. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm Steve and this is Chris and we are Eat, Walk, Learn. And this video is about managing your
Yeah,
finances
yeah.
as full-time travelers.
Yeah, the systems of our money. Like
Exactly.
the systems we've developed, we fired. So FIRE is Financial Independent Retire Early. If you don't know about the FIRE movement, definitely Google it. It's a fantastic way to figure out how to save your money, spend less, and retire sooner.
Yeah.
When we fired, we didn't know we were firing. We didn't know we were part of the FIRE movement. I retired when I was 49. How old were you?
I was 60,
Yeah, yeah,
and
you're a little bit older.
the unique thing about our financial situation is that we keep our money separate. We don't combine it all. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is not the first marriage for either one of us. And so this is a unique situation, I think, for us, is that we do keep our finances separately, and we both achieved our FIRE or our financial independence at different times.
Yeah.
And so Chris was 49, I was still working, and it was important for me to continue working because I had a number, I had a goal that I had to reach, and we got a sorry about the loud scooter behind us. So we were on the same page in that we had the same goals, we had the same dreams, we had the same aspirations, but we did it at two different paces.
Right.
At two
When I
different
retired at
ways.
49, I had 5 years to wait for him to retire. So, it was a really interesting conversation about affordability, what kind of budgets we could have, how much money we wanted to spend, because we each had different buckets of money, and how we could equalize that and make that fair for both of us as we traveled and as we figured things out in our retirement life.
Yeah, that was the catalyst, is that we had planned, and we had planned this many years before we retired, that we were going to sell everything and travel full time. So that came with new challenges and new creative ways of, well, how do we manage our finances?
Right.
And that's really what this video is about, is if you're making a decision that you want to travel full time or not, how do you create a system to manage your money so that you know that that it's safe, that things are affordable, that you're on the same page, and that you're not constantly like, we don't want to be like penny pinching and say, wait, you bought dinner, I'm going to buy lunch, and then how are we going to get?
I'm going to buy your beer this time. You have to buy my tea next time. Like, it was like, we
Exactly.
don't want to have to deal with that.
We
So
want to make
what
it
we
easy.
did is we opened up a Schwab checking account. And the reason why we picked Schwab is because, first of all, it was easy to transfer money in and out of Schwab. Their transfer fees are really reasonable, if any at all. And their ATM fees are reimbursed. They charge you them, but then they reimburse you at the end of the month. So because we were going to be around the world dealing with all kinds of currencies and banking systems and ATMs, it was really important to us that we reduced any fees down to zero, so that we didn't have the expense of traveling, the expense of getting money being a line item on our travel budget.
Exactly. And so once we had this checking account, this joint checking account established, we came up with a budget for what our travel expenses we thought were going to be. And we'll talk more about our budget in a minute. But once we knew what that was, we just transferred at the end of the month or the beginning of the month an equal amount from each one of our accounts into this joint account.
Yep.
And that becomes our spending
money,
account.
yeah.
That's where we spend everything for all of our travel. So for our housing, for our transportation, for our food, for our health insurance, everything comes out of that particular account. We've got a couple of exceptions.
So, like, if I incur a particular medical expense, like I had knee surgery when we first launched, that comes out of my personal account. We have three kids between us. in gifting for the individual kids comes out of the individual accounts. If the kid needs some tuition or whatever, that's the parents' responsibility, not us as a couple.
Exactly.
So, right.
So we do have a couple of exceptions, but it makes it so easy because we don't have to worry about, where the money is going to come from and who's paying for what.
Right.
It just all comes out of that joint account that we're both equally contributing to. But for spending purposes, we are typically using credit cards.
Right.
We want to use credit cards whenever we can because that helps us track our spending. Sure, if we need to get an ATM, and that's a great tip for when you're traveling around the world, just go to the ATM machine and get the cash that you need.
Yeah, don't go to a cash box or
depending
get
on
money.
what currency you're in.
Right, sorry to interrupt you. Or
That's okay.
no need to go to the bank before you leave to buy currency for where you're going. When you get to the airport, at where you're going, just take money from the ATM machine.
But one of the great things about using your credit card to buy everything that you need to buy is that the credit card company, and mostly we use Chase accounts, but they all do it. They categorize your spending for you. So when you get a statement or you download your transactions, you automatically know, well, how much am I spending for housing and how much
Right.
should I spend for those flights and how much should I spend for that food? It's automatically categorized for you. So it's really easy to just download it and be able to track that against your budget.
Yeah,
So
no need to have a bunch of different apps to track your expenses. Just download your credit card statement and you can track them right there. And then
Yeah.
you like when we do pull out cash because we're going to go to the market and they've got street food or if we have to pay our accommodation with cash, we will accommodate that in our tracking based on
But
however
it's
seems to
super
be.
easy
But it's
because
super
it's
easy.
really it's just the exceptions.
Yeah.
So we talked about our budget. I don't know if we're that unique because we do kind of track our spending in this way and we compare it against our budget. But it's not a budget that is like restricting us from how much we spend, especially after 5 years of traveling. We know how much we spend and we know what our comfort level is for different types of things.
Really, we just need to track any outliers because everything else is, pretty normal to what we ever do. So even though Steve likes to track the spending, he likes to spreadsheet it out. He likes to every month say, "Chris, we're over budget," or "Chris, we're under budget," because he kind of likes the game of that. We don't need to do it because we have a set of habits and behaviors that automatically kind of keep us in our budget. And we know that if we splurge on something or we spend extra money on something, we know it's a budget breaker because we already kind of know what our budget does.
Yeah. So it's not something, again, that's going to restrict the way we spend and the decisions that we make. And we're really actually creating our budget. We've got a video on that. But essentially, it's like we'll look out for, a year ahead of time. We're typically planned about 6 months out anyway. So we're doing this video in February. And we pretty much know where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing for the next 6 months. So it's easy to kind of identify what are the big ticket items, right? Are you taking a cruise? You're going to be taking some expensive flights? Are you going to be doing some crazy excursion to Iceland to see the total eclipse of the sun or something like that, where you can accommodate, and account for those things.
Isn't that Carole King? Total eclipse of the sun. Total
No,
eclipse of the.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Whose lyric is that?
No,
Carole King
the
or
song was You're So
Totally-
Vain.
You're
Was
So
that Carole
Vain.
King?
Yeah, tell us, help us out, all you 70s music fans. Total eclipse of the sun. Where did that come from? We're giving you a lot of tips right now on a lot of ways we do our life. Fortunately, I wrote the book about it. It is considered the Nomad Bible. It is the book that full-time travelers recommend, buy, and use before they launch or while they're launching, or they give it to their friends who also want to launch. 2 Carry-ons and a Plan is now out in its second edition. What I love about this second edition is it actually has 5 years of data in it, of tracking and spending and how we manage our money and all the things we just talked about. All the charts and all the visuals and all the graphs and all the spreadsheets are in the book. So if you are particularly a financial person who is interested in the real money side of the story, and if you can afford this lifestyle, 2 Carry-ons and a Plan gives you the receipts. It actually shows you how to do it. So I hope you will grab your second edition. Comes out next week. You can pre-order it on Amazon right as we speak. So go grab your copy. It will be an ebook. It is also in print, and it will be out in audio a few days after it comes out live. So whatever format you have, what you want, it's available. So let's get back to credit cards. We were talking about cash and credit cards and using spreadsheets to track your credit cards.
Right.
So when we think, and we talk a lot about this in the book, actually, the importance of credit card in your overall strategy about currency. So you have the currency of money, right?
Money's good.
Credit cards also have a currency. So the points that you get from your credit cards is currency,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Travel, being a house sitter, that's also currency because that's a way you can pay for your housing and so house sitting or pay for your accommodations and so on.
Yeah.
So in relation to credit cards, the reason why we use credit cards, first of all, we pay them off every month, right?
Yeah, that's
Major
important.
point. You don't want to incur fees as you use your credit cards. We use credit cards to be able to track spending, but using credit cards also gives us points, and then we can use that points as currency to buy other things like car rentals, hotels, cruises, and all the other things that we do, we can use that currency. So credit cards is a big part of our strategy to maintaining our budget.
Yeah, it is. And if we didn't do credit card hacking, would we still be able to afford our full-time travel
Yes.
lifestyle? Yes, absolutely. So I think this is another one of those just ideas that I like to think that we travel smarter. I think that's a key part of
Yeah,
our
our banner says we travel smarter, happier, and funner, or something like that. So we got to
Something
live up
like
to that.
that.
Yeah, smarter, the
But
smarter part.
But I like to think that, hey, I got this great, river cruise on the Danube to see the Christmas markets, and I got it paid for with points
Yeah,
from
that was
my
great.
credit card, and didn't actually have to pay cash for it. So a lot of little things like that I think are important to me, and important to us in our style of travel, and the way we like to kind of
Yeah.
beat the system a little bit,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
just make it more fun.
Yeah, they're optional optimizations. We don't have to do them, but why not? I mean, if we got to pay for something and you can pay for it with a credit card and then you get some kind of reward for using the credit card, why not use the credit card?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So another thing that we talk about in the book that is really critical to the safety of how we do money, and that is we call this the triple wallet system, and it's all about developing a redundancy with your credit cards and your ATM cards and so on. When people say to me, "Hey, Christina," when people say to me, "I only have one ATM card, and I only have which one credit
Which
card should I
credit
get?"
card
I
should
mean,
I
like
get?
my heart just goes, "Oh!" Like you're only traveling with one ATM card and one credit card. What if they go fraud, or what if
Yeah.
you lose it, or what if it
It's
stops
not
working?
even. It's not even if. It's
It's
when
when.
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
And
it's when.
I'll tell you. There. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. You put your ATM card in the machine, and you oh, I hope I'm going to get this back, and it doesn't happen where we don't get it back.
Yeah.
And or it just comes up on the screen and says, "Sorry, we cannot complete this transaction." You
Yeah.
try another ATM, it says the same thing.
Yep.
So having that redundancy for me is just incredible peace of mind, and it's really is easy. We have Schwab, we talked about, for an ATM. We also use Chase, we use Access Bank, we use Fidelity. All of these have the same features in that they're international, they're very well known, and they reimburse you for your ATM fees, which
And-
is
yeah,
great.
Yeah, and just it says Access AXOS, not AXIS. It's two different banks. Axos that has no fees on its ATM fees.
Exactly.
But in relation to credit cards, how many fraud alerts have we had in 5 years?
It happens.
It
It
happens
happens
all
quite
the
a bit,
time.
and it's not even just the fraud alerts. There is theft, and you want to be safe, and you can lose things as well. Like how many times do you leave a backpack someplace or something, or lose something?
Well, hopefully not many.
in
But so in our 5 years, I think we've had 5 cards go fraud, and when they go fraud, they're dead. They don't reactivate them. You have to get another card. I've had
which if you're just sitting at home in Des Moines, it's not a big deal. You can
Yeah.
have one in the next 24 hours. But if you're traveling and you're in Thailand, it might take a while to get that new card. So just reduce that stress.
right. So you can, while you're waiting for the second the broken card to
Right,
get there, you just
right.
use another card. You don't have to
Exactly.
stress about it's 48 hours and is DHL coming tomorrow, and oh my God, thank God I have 20 cents in change because now I can buy an apple. It's like you've got options and flexibility and choices when you have multiple ATM cards and multiple credit cards. In
Yeah.
addition, you want to keep them in multiple places. So
Right.
if they get stolen, so if your backpack gets stolen, you got another set in your suitcase. Or if your suitcase gets stolen, you got another set in your butt bag. So make sure you've got 3 sets and that they're different than your partner's. Because if my card goes fraud, and he's got a duplicate of my card, his is fraud too,
Right.
So have different accounts, have different systems, so at any time something happens, and it's not if, it is absolutely when you can recover immediately and not have to wait, be at the mercy of FedEx arriving or DHL arriving, or the digital version getting dropped into your phone. You don't have to don't have to suffer through it. Triple wallet system, we talk about it in depth in the Two Carry-ons and a Plan book, plus many other tips. Go and grab that today.
And these are tips that we have developed over the last 5 years of our full-time travel. You don't have to wait 5 years in order to do these things. A lot of these things you say, well, yeah, that makes sense to do right now, even if I'm not traveling. But certainly as you travel and as you travel around the world, to be able to manage your money easily, to be able to be safe with your money, and to be able to really be on the same page with your partner about how you're spending and what you're spending money on, and feeling comfortable that you're within a reasonable like lifestyle, if you will, that you're on the same page is really key.
It's about setting up systems, and the systems are going to be different than the systems you have now as you're sitting at home getting ready to travel. Think about those. We talk about all those systems in the Two Carry-ons and a Plan, but ultimately the question is, how much money can be stressful, and if you can reduce the stress of money in your full-time travel life, that's what you want to do. So we ask you, of everything we just mentioned, what's the most stressful part for you? Is it getting the multiple ATM cards? Is it figuring out how to share the money with your spouse if you're traveling with a partner? Is it accessing the money and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get all this currency? I got to go to all these currency houses and buy currency every different place. What's the thing that stresses you out most? Let's help you figure out how to get on the road with your money safely in a way that makes you comfortable. Thank you so much for being with us. Hang in with us. Watch our video from last week about our budget, or you can watch this here, which is our playlist about how to start your nomad life. We'll talk to you soon.